Solomon, in many ways, is a character that we know in cliches. Solomon is wise. We've had the story of him deciding between two women, between two would-be mothers, very often in children's Sunday school lessons and cartoons. We have him figuring out who was the real mother, although they both claimed the child, by offering to cut the child in half. And we hear that as a symbol of his wisdom, and all of us think to ourselves, duh. Solomon is passionate. We have the poetry and writings attributed to him. The Song of Songs gives us passionate love songs, illustrating Solomon as the lover. Solomon is wealthy. We know he built the temple of the Lord to be exquisite. We know because he brags constantly about his extravagance. This is usually as deep as we tend to dive on Solomon. It's a cotton candy wisdom, a lover boy with a lot of toys, and a stellar sense of fashion and extravagance. But before that, he was down the list of potential heirs. Before that, he was down the list of those who were set to inherit. Before that, he was also humble enough to know that he was in over his head. Somewhere along the way, Solomon evolves. The least likely of the children becomes a king. One of the most humble becomes one of the most braggadocious. Somewhere along the way, Solomon devolves, much like his father. But once upon a time, a king came to power. He wasn't expecting to become king. He didn't go looking for it. But once upon a time, the final desires of a dying king was fulfilled through the political maneuverings of his wife and some really good politicking by others. Once upon a time, a young king came to power and humbly asked God to be his guide. I am too young, Solomon says. I don't know how to lead. I'm so young, I don't know how to take care of myself, much less lead this great people of yours, God. These people are too great for me to guide. Lord, help me. Lord, give me wisdom. This is the deepest legacy of Solomon, where it started. This is where we are called today in our text to find our example. Not of what not to do, that comes later in Solomon's story. But at the heart of it, if we're to follow an example of Solomon, it is here. Fake it till you make it. Act like you've been there before. Never let them see you sweat. These are common expressions in our culture today, right? These are things that we understand, that we hear regularly. Advice given all the time. Be what you want to be until you are. Act like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Don't show any weakness. Yet our example today is Solomon saying, I don't know how to do everything. I can't do this alone. Lord, help me. Solomon's humility is inspiring, especially because it is such a rare commodity to find in our world today. I have been moved by the acts of humility in the world around us, standing out against the backdrop of bravado. I've been moved by the places that humility jumps out, and I think it is so loud, it is so profound because it is such a rarity today. This last year, Cleveland Cavaliers forward Kevin Love, some of you may remember as a player at UCLA, he penned a piece for the Players Tribune about his anxiety disorder. He talked about having a panic attack in the middle of a basketball game in Atlanta. It had never happened to him before. He had been in all-star games. He had played in the Olympics. And in a random game, in a random season, against a team that wasn't very good, he felt his heart thumping like it was going to come out of his chest. He felt his peripheral vision closing in as he had a panic attack and didn't know what it was. Since then, he has started sharing more and more about mental health publicly. Big, strong athletes who are supposed to act tough, act intimidating, act like they've got it all together, show no weakness in the macho male world. And Love pens a letter about his mental health for everyone to read and puts it out there. It stands out as humility and strength in a world where strength is defined in a different way. Over the years, Malala Yousafzai has jumped out to me as a humble, strong voice. Someone who continues to be sincere working for change without letting her new celebrity change her. It is amazing to watch someone navigate our culture who's coming from the outside and not feel the need to keep up with the Kardashians, to keep up with the Joneses, to keep up with those around, but simply be themselves. It is a humility and authenticity that stands out against the backdrop of bravado. And this weekend, Senator John McCain asking two former rivals to eulogize him stands out as a step of humility. Humility in a world of bravado. Humility stands out as a sign of true wisdom. I've heard it said, when two wise people disagree, you wait and see. Find out later who was right and who was wrong. I think this will happen. I think this will happen. Well, we'll wait and see who the wise one really was. Sadly, if it's a competition, if it's divisive, if it's got a winner and a loser, it's probably not wisdom. That's something else. If it's got a winner and a loser, if it's divisive, if it's competitive, it's probably not wisdom. Wisdom doesn't have to have a right and a wrong, but understands the complexity of a situation. Wisdom doesn't have a winner and a loser, but an understanding of another person's perspective. Wisdom doesn't lead to celebrity. Instead, it leads to an understanding of who we are, with or without notoriety. Where do you need wisdom? Navigating family divides, making career decisions, responding to love or letting it go, leading others or faithfully following. Where do you need wisdom? And how have we asked God for it? How have we looked to God for our wisdom? Praying for wisdom was Soloman's prayer. He felt it's what he needed because it's what he lacked. He needed it for the job ahead, and wisdom is what he lacked. In reality, you may have a different prayer. What is it you feel you need but know you lack? What is it you feel you need but know that you lack? What might humility, an honest reflection of ourselves, lead us to pray for? What might an honest, humble reflection of ourselves lead us to pray for? What is it we know we lack but feel we need? Is it patience? Compassion? Courage? What might humility and honest reflection call us to pray for? Is it hope? Is it balance? Is it vision? What might humility and honest reflection call us to pray for ourselves, for our church, for our community? What might humility and honest reflection call us to pray for? If you don't know, Solomon has a suggestion. Start with wisdom and see where God guides us.